Hello there. The government has always maintained that any shortfall to our exports caused by Brexit will be more than made up for by international trade, whole new opportunities that we can grasp beyond the EU. Well, the Institute of Export and International Trade has come up with a 10-point action plan that they say will allow manufacturers, exporters of all types and the UK government to make the most of what they call a once-in-a-generation opportunity. I've been speaking to the Chief Executive of the Institute, Marco Forgione. Marco, welcome to Manufacturing TV. Can you please tell us why this 10-point action plan is so important and so needed?
Well, Nick, the Institute has been around since 1935, and we are the biggest, most significant community of those people involved and engaged in international trade. We are a membership association, a charity, and obviously, currently, the UK, for the first time in 3 generations, has control of its own international trade policy. And so I think it's really important that the Institute, as that leading community of members and businesses involved in international trade, should be leveraging that insight, that knowledge and that expertise to support the UK government as it develops its international policies and its approach to international trade. So we've put together a piece of research and insight that concludes with 10 propositions that have been developed to support the UK government to help inform the direction of travel as they now sign and agree the vast range of free trade agreements and collaboration agreements around the world. This is a unique opportunity for UK businesses to grow and exploit international trade as a fundamental part of their business, and the Institute needs to help and support with the development of those policies.
Isn't this a little bit, closing the stable door after the horse has bolted? I mean, the government's been working on its trade policy for a couple of years now and been out signing agreements. Aren't you a little bit late to the party?
And the Institute has been a full partner with UK government, with the Department of International Trade, with BEIS, with HMRC, and with Cabinet Office as they draw together their thinking and their engagement with UK businesses and in developing their approach to policy development. What this platform is it coalesces a lot of the thinking that's been ongoing and some really practical advice and guidance as to what the next steps could and should be, including, as a top priority, that there should be across government a community, a group, a government think tank, a government organization chaired and led by the Prime Minister that puts international trade at the very heart of all of the government thinking around every single policy, because there isn't an area of government policy that isn't impacted by international trade.
Given that the policy document that you're releasing has got very supportive forward by the Exports Minister Graham Stewart, should we take it as a done deal that actually getting the Prime Minister on board for this community think tank committee, call it what you will, it's a done deal that it will happen?
We would strongly encourage the government to implement this. The committee chaired by the Prime Minister, because it's essential that every government department, every civil servant has to understand the importance, the role of business and international trade in reshaping the UK economy in the new environment that exists. So I would hope that the government would move forward as we've suggested. And like you say, with the support of the Export Minister, Graham Stewart, who has been a full-throated supporter of business and international trade within government, we will see real movement and the establishment of that committee as part of the government's own export policy and plan, which is being developed.
Obviously, we wish you, I'm sure all manufacturers and engineers would wish you very fair wind for what you're doing. But the fact is that a lot of SME manufacturers who export have been knocked for six, not only by pandemic, but by Brexit, of course. And I wonder what you think about how long it's going to take for for that to recover in terms of volumes, and SME volumes were already down between 2015 and 2018. Their export volumes were down. You're going to have to work very hard to get them back to a point where they're beginning to fire on all six cylinders.
Nick, you raise a really valuable and important point, which is how are we going to reshape and recover, not just from COVID, not just from the realignment of our relationship with the EU, but to the rapidly changing and developing landscape for international trade globally. And that involves engagement and work through the pan-national international bodies such as the WTO. And I'm delighted to see that the UK government has made a clear commitment that it will be a keen advocate and supporter of working through the WTO. But what's important, Nick, is that we have control over trade policy for the first time. The government has the opportunity, the potential to encourage and support businesses. And for the Institute, success for us is when international trade is just an instinctive part of doing business, and particularly for the manufacturers of the UK. You know, manufacturing, exporting and importing is an essential lifeblood, and there is huge potential, and the government needs to get behind business to ensure that manufacturing returns not just to the levels that it was, but actually leads the way in the future. And there is support available. There's the £2,000 Brexit fund, which is available to all businesses to help them deal with the new challenges of the relationship with the EU, to understand how they can trade more seamlessly and friction-free. There is massive potential to establish close trading links with the emerging and developing countries, particularly with regards to Africa and Asia. And we look at the potential that exists there. But for the Institute, our view is that export and international trade should be just a central part of doing business, not an add-on to doing business. And the manufacturing backbone of the United Kingdom has to be at the very heart of that.
I fully appreciate your point about the fact that exports, of course, are going to help drive the recovery from the pandemic and from the impact, short term or whatever it might be, of the change in our relationship with the EU. But it's only part of the picture, is it not? I mean, it should be part of a much wider strategy that supports manufacturing and engineering in this country, which has got the potential to drive the economy forward. In a sense, exporting is part of the picture, not the whole picture.
No, it's about developing trade. But we should see ourselves as a nation as an interlinked part of a global network. And the announcement of the Freeport initiative and the funds and investments that are going to be made into the regional freeports, I think is a brilliant spark and spur to encouraging greater engagement, involvement and support for the manufacturing sector. If for no other reason that we will see significant infrastructure investment in the development and creation of the freeport. So there is huge potential just within the UK through government policy to support and encourage investment in industry, and particularly in manufacturing.
Well, Marco, you sound incredibly positive about the whole thing. This document you're releasing has got some real depth and juice in it. So I do hope people will take the opportunity to go and look for it. Where can they find it?
It's available at export.org.uk, so from the Institute's website, where there's a whole raft of help and support available, and signposting to where businesses, manufacturers and others can find and access support, advice and guidance.
Marco Forgione. It's going to be very interesting to see whether that trade committee does come into existence, and indeed whether the Prime Minister is the one who's going to sit at the head of the table. We'll keep an eye on it. Thank you very much indeed for watching. This has been a special report from Manufacturing TV. I'm Nick Peters. Goodbye for now.